Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Matt Quick, once again, coming from HireMilitary, live on LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm going to get right to it. This is one person that I was excited to get on here because he's all over LinkedIn now with his messages, his videos, and he's just out there. Patrick O'Donohue transitions, and very soon, as a matter of fact, and his transition has been successful because he's already got a signed offer to start work soon. So, hey, Patrick, without further ado, man, let's talk about, before we get to the good news, let's get to how your service was, why you joined, those kind of things. But first of all, tell us why you're in a bunker right now.
Man, I'm not in a bunker. I'm in a closet. I'm hiding from my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old because if I wasn't in a closet, if I was in my office, they would be all over me and nobody would get anything out of this.
That makes sense. But that's live though, right?
Hey, that's how it rolls these days.
So why join the military in the first place, and how's your career been up to this point?
You know, I joined the military because I wanted to serve. And I wanted to get an education. I wanted to learn. I wanted to grow. I didn't come from a financial background, my family, where school was going to just be provided for me. That was just the reality of my situation at the time. And, I kind of asked myself, how can I do this? And one of the things that just stood out to me, because it was right when the surge in Iraq was going on.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of when I was starting school. And I just thought to myself, if these people are volunteering to go over and do that, why can't I do my part? I kind of felt like if I stick my head in the stand and don't do my part, I'm never going to be able to look at myself in the mirror. So that's how I started this adventure. As far as my career, I started out as an armor officer, deployed to Afghanistan with 3-7 Cav, Gary Owen. Enjoyed that experience, learned and grew from it so much.
Rock of the Morn, right?
Yep, that's right.
All
Third
right.
ID. And then I went over to civil affairs and was doing that for a couple of years. And then I got hurt. And while I was there and I got hurt, definitely changed the trajectory of my career.
Accidents happen, right?
That's right. And they don't always happen when people are shooting at you. Sometimes they happen when you step on a pine cone wrong. They just happen.
All right, keep it to yourself, all right? Tell a story.
That's not my story. My story
Okay.
involved like a burning building, some screaming children, and and a fire truck.
Okay.
But really, what happened was I got hurt. I was pre-command. I knew that as an armor officer, I wasn't really going to be able to lead troops if I couldn't run. And so I just kind of took a knee for a moment and said, where can I go? What can I do? And the Army has this regulation. It's about this thick, actually.
Yeah.
It's all the different careers that an officer can have in the Army. And I flipped through that whole thing. And when I got to space, I said, nope, not for me. Well, guess where I ended up? I ended up in space.
There you go.
And
the Army knows best.
It's been the best thing for me. It really has. I've been able to take the lessons I learned as a young junior officer and just been able to really analyze what the warfighter needs. And I've really enjoyed what I've been able to do since that time.
So you're not in the Space Force, are you?
No, no.
You didn't make it that far yet.
No. I was up for selection and then I got cut.
Okay. Hey, we can't all make it though. And I see Netflix has Space Force coming out soon. I'm going to watch that this weekend, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, you better believe it. I'm going to watch it too. I'm going to be texting you while I watch it and being like, hey, this is real. This is how it was.
There you go. So what kind of unit were you in doing space work?
So the Army has one space brigade. Okay. And from that brigade, they have a couple different battalions with some active components, some reserve and National Guard components. Because the reality is that the Army, with all the different branches, uses the most space assets. Okay.
Okay.
And reality, we take it for granted. We're like, yeah, this GPS just works. My Blue Force tracker just works. We don't
Hey,
ever.
Stephen Bell is a FA-40 space guy. He's watching too right now, so
Yeah, there we
you better
go.
get it right.
I better get it right. Okay. There we go. Yeah. So there's one brigade, and I got assigned to that brigade and got to do some really cool mission sets while I was there. Um, and then the reality is that my injury back from when I was in civil affairs kind of caught up with me, and um, got to a point where we actually thought we were going to cut my leg off. As messed up as that sounds.
Oh wow.
I was just in so much pain, and so I was going to volunteer for an amputation. I just, I was like, I can be Robo Man. I can handle that. But I came down here to Joint Base San Antonio down at BAMC. I had some great surgeons and went through a couple different procedures and had a whole bunch of rehab and everything in between. And for a while, we actually thought it was I was going to be a return to duty case.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, it came my time, kind of caught me by surprise, where all of a sudden I wasn't going to be returned to duty, and then I had this new reality of transitioning out of the military.
So you got injured in psyops. So
Mm-hmm.
you go work for Army space.
Yep.
And then the injury caught up to you over time, and they transfer you to San Antonio for service, right?
Yep.
So are you getting out now because of the injury or what?
Yeah. I'm getting medically retired.
Okay, so I know there's some people watching that go through the medical evaluation board process that get discouraged because they can't do DoD skill bridge right now because there's no timeline for the separation. Once they get approved, it's a very short timeline, so they can't get the skill bridge opportunity, their career skills. So how did you overcome that, I guess, a negative connotation to become where you're at right now and really almost a leader in LinkedIn transition?
It was really interesting because when I got to the Warrior Transition Unit, they're like, yeah, you can do an internship and you can do this and you can do all that. And I was probably the most annoying soldier in transition because I was like, hey, what's the status of my internship? Every day I'd go to I'd ping the transition coordinator. I was like, hey, have you heard from them? And, and then it just got to a point where COVID-19 broke out. I got my orders and it was just like, well, hey, this isn't going to work. Like this whole internship thing, it's just not going to pan out. And it was right about that time that I found Michael Quinn. Like I can't remember, how he popped up in my feed, but he popped up in my feed. And
He's just
LinkedIn.
there all the
He's
time.
just there. Yeah. And really the first thing that really influenced my transition to get me to where I am today, he calls it his cheat sheet. If you go to Michael Quinn's profile,
Mm-hmm.
that first document that's featured there, it's like he walks you through step by step how to build out your profile. Now, I mean, is he all knowing and have everything right? I don't know, but
yes, he
but
is.
I can tell you this: it worked for me. Whether he's right or not, it works.
So the ultimate LinkedIn cheat sheet is what Michael created years ago, and it's still valuable today. So you saw that cheat sheet, right?
Yeah, that's what helped me set up my profile, And then all of a sudden, I met a guy named John Snyder. Okay, and I reached out to him and I said, hey, John, it looks like you're doing great things. Would you have a couple of minutes that we could talk?
Mm-hmm.
I just would appreciate whatever input you could give me. And we had a conversation, and it was a good conversation, but for me it was hard. It was really hard because John, he didn't pull any punches. He he asked the tough questions.
You have to during transition because this is a time where it can be so stressful and anxious. You have to get to the meat quickly to overcome it, especially in an advanced timeline like yourself.
Yeah. And so John, he helped me like not only figure out my why, but he also helped me kind of go from being this shotgun blast of, scattered all over the place where I can do anything and everything, to helping me kind of like narrow down my shot group to
Mm-hmm.
really focus on what I want to do. And then the next step of my journey was I met Herb Thompson. you know
Great guy too.
yeah, he's got his freedom beard.
I
you know
love that thing.
yeah, yeah. And he did a webinar, and he called it networking. I would call it targeting, but that's just because I'm still in the military. But
Yeah.
it's the same thing. And he went through and he talks about how to engage on LinkedIn with people in a company. And here's what's funny. I can tell you that what Herb is teaching, it works. I'm going to use the military lingo here, Matt, but
Go ahead.
I targeted several companies.
Hey,
Seriously.
Herb's a Green Beret. They target people for a reason, and we
Yeah.
learn from that right there.
Yeah. I have no shame targeting recruiters, at this company or that company. I've probably got over 100 recruiters that are part of my network, you
And they're
know?
valuable because they post content, they post opportunities. They can maybe link you up with some people in the organization too. They may get commission based off a hire. There's so many things. So connect with recruiters in the area you're looking to target. They're valuable.
Yeah, no, they really are. And we had a conversation one time where and this is something you taught me, is that rather than just going and applying to the job online, is if I go and reach out to the recruiter, I'm helping them because maybe I'm helping them get that commission. So they're more of an advocate for me.
Yeah, some work for salary, some work for salary and commission. It is different
Yeah.
components depending on who you targeting now.
Yeah. And it was interesting because like not everybody that I've connected with is is a veteran, is post military life.
Yeah.
I networked and I met a woman. Her name is Jennifer Fink, and she's a career coach. But what she did was she was providing a service where she reviewed my LinkedIn account free of charge. She kind of like
That's
gave me
nice.
like like a grade for each section. And not just a letter grade, but she's like, hey, here's how you could improve. And after getting that from Jenny, it was tremendous in the sense that I was like, hey, we're continuing to refine. It's a day by day process. In all honesty, my wife, she's like, you're all consumed by this, and I was like, you're right, I
You
am,
don't get
because
it. You don't understand.
yeah,
I wish you
yeah,
would too.
yeah, and Matt, the entire time that this whole process was going on, I never kept track of how many resumes I submitted. I probably submitted like a couple hundred resumes.
Yeah.
But what I did do, and I want to spend a couple minutes on this, if it's okay, is I set up some job searches, and for the people out there that might want to learn more about how to do this, if you don't know how to do it, I'm going to post some stuff about it, just so that we get this knowledge out there.
Yeah.
Is I set up job searches where every day it would tell me the jobs that had posted in the last 24 hours that met my criteria. And there's this awesome button on LinkedIn where it's called LinkedIn Easy Apply. Okay. And it takes about 2 minutes to apply to a job on LinkedIn Easy Apply versus the 20 to 30 minutes to go to a website and fill everything out in ATS.
Yeah.
And so I got to a point where I was probably filling out anywhere from 20 to 30 applications a day. And it wasn't my whole day. It was like maybe I spent an hour doing applications.
Okay.
And then so because of this, it got to a point where I had to stop applying. I had so many recruiters calling me that I couldn't even keep track of which jobs I had applied to. So I started an Excel sheet just to keep track of it. But
Not a bad thing.
And that's not because I'm special. like I'm really not. I'm a redheaded stepchild.
Literally, right?
Yeah, literally. You know, and so my whole point in telling this story is that if you make a system in how you're approaching your job search, you got to give it a little bit of time. But if you do it systematically, you're gonna get those results. Um,
And it makes sense.
yeah.
Hey, Patrick, we're 15 minutes into this conversation now, and we can go on for hours.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to get to real fast is two questions. How long have you been active on LinkedIn? That's one. Go ahead.
So I've had a profile for years, but I totally would have been in that lurker pile. You know,
Okay.
somebody that was just on here, you know, had a profile, but really was not actively contributing.
Mm-hmm.
And about 6 weeks
What?
ago,
Hey, we'll call it a sponge profile. So
okay,
you're learning things, right?
yeah, I had a sponge profile. You're being nice. I appreciate
You're welcome.
it. So about 6 weeks ago was when I really got to the point where my transition became um, very apparent that I was going to be retired, that some of the plans that I had previously set up were falling through, and I didn't know my next steps, and truthfully, it was a little bit scary.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go look at my first video, the first video I posted, I was wearing a blue shirt. I remember that. I was sitting outside, and I think I even maybe had like a little bit of a shaky voice at first.
Was it raining in that video too?
It might have been.
Maybe
It might have.
maybe it was muggy, or I know San Antonio is very humid down
Yeah.
there. Maybe it was muggy. Maybe you're just sweating,
Yeah.
perspiring.
Yeah. No, it definitely was that. And the first time I was like so nervous. I think I shot it like 2 or 3 times before I even posted it. And then finally I was just like forget it, and I posted it. And the reality is that was the best decision in terms of my transition that I ever could have made.
So
It's just
putting yourself out there.
yeah.
So that's good because some people choose to type words, some choose videos, some choose phone calls. Whatever helps them out. So when's your actual separation date?
So I literally signed out on transition leave today.
Hey,
So
congratulations for one. It's going to be a
thank
great
you.
weekend for you and your
Yep.
family.
Yep.
So when's your
Yeah.
date? When do you retire officially?
August 4th.
So you've got about a month and a what, 2.5 months?
Yep.
So between now and then, what do you plan on doing? And
Well, first,
do you have any exciting news you want to tell anybody? Because your last few posts have been really, you know, inching
yeah.
to a crescendo.
Yeah, no. Hopefully we can have that crescendo moment right now. I actually have a job offer in hand, signed, so I will literally have employment from without any gaps in my paycheck.
Wow, that's
Um,
impressive.
yeah, I feel extremely blessed in terms of being able to have set this up, and the reality is, um, it didn't even happen because of all the other things I was just telling you about.
People are asking right now on LinkedIn Live, how the hell does that happen?
It happens from networking. It really happens from networking. The story goes like this. I reached out to somebody because I needed a document, and I thought they might have it.
Mm-hmm.
Just a previous coworker of mine. I said, hey, do you by chance have it? This document. I'm looking for it because I need some uh, documentation for my professional development
Uh-huh.
education stuff, and as proof. And so we just kind of caught up, and she asked me what I was up to. I said, hey, I'm actually going through a medical retirement. I'm getting out. I'm looking for a job. And because of the professional relationship that we had, she knew what I was interested in. She knew what my skill set was. And she said, hey, would you by chance be interested in this position? And I was like, wait a second. Wait. This is in the middle of a pandemic.
No one's hiring right now, right? No one's hiring.
Yeah, no one's hiring, and you're asking me that if by chance I would be willing to, find some employment. Of course I would. And and it was amazing because she introduced me to somebody on the team that I'm joining, and I met him. His name was Brandon, and Brandon and I talked, and he said, "Well, hey, send me your resume. I'll get it to the program manager." Here's the long story short. I had interviewed, jumped through all the hoops, and received an offer before I had even officially applied for the job.
So, say that one more time.
Okay. I had networked, interviewed, received an offer before I applied for the job.
How in the hell is that possible?
It's networking.
Networking. That's how we talk about it constantly. Mike Quinn talks about it constantly, and people just seem to either they don't believe it or it doesn't work for them right away, and it's not an instant thing. You've been doing this for what, a few weeks, and you've already got a signed offer, and you start working soon, right?
Yeah. I start
Goodness.
June 17th. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So like it's so funny. Like I had to go into the system to apply for the job in order to fill out the follow-on paperwork so they could, give me my offer.
That seems like it's backwards, but that's the way it works sometimes.
Yeah. And so what I hope people take away from my story isn't that, I've done something that's unachievable. It's really that it's a systematic approach, and it's about putting yourself out there, and not just trying to hide your imperfections or your vulnerabilities or your shortcomings, but just being like, hey, I'm a real person.
That's so true. And do you want to announce who you're working with or not?
Yeah, no. All right, so I'd be happy to.
Before we do that, so let me get it straight. So you went through a medical evaluation board, which is a MEB, and people are disheartened by that sometimes. You've been on LinkedIn active for about 5 weeks. Someone found you through your videos, putting stuff out there. You already have a signed offer, and you're moving soon, all within a few weeks period. Yeah. People, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this live, if you're watching this afterwards, Patrick just showed you how it's done. It's not going to work for everybody, but it works for him. But put yourself out there. Now, drum roll, please. Who are you going to work for next?
I'm working for the United States Space Force.
You got to be kidding me. That's awesome.
No. So not only did I get to work within Army space and develop a skill set, now with the creation of this new branch, I'm going to have the opportunity, and I really truly feel like it's an opportunity to go and work with these new officers that just commissioned from the Air Force Academy, the new airmen, to help have an opportunity in their development as the Space Force, truly starts to get manned.
So you're going to be involved in creating the Space Force, well, not creating, but really developing the Space Force from what it's going to be for maybe generations from now. What's your job going to be in the Space Force, if you can talk about it, of course?
Yeah, so I'm going to be an instructor, just in terms of space situational awareness, which in reality doesn't mean a whole lot to most people.
Doesn't to me.
Well, that's okay. The reality is I'm going to teach some really smart people some stuff about space, and they're going to take care of us.
Hey, that's incredible. Your story seems like, and this is why I want to get you on so bad, because I didn't know you had a job. That's a huge thing. But just how you put yourself out there for months, for weeks now, just talking about how you transition, put it on video. And I know it's nerve-wracking. These LinkedIn Live sessions, they're not always easy, but these conversations make it so much easier, and it's worthwhile. So, hey, this is incredible. So what is it about transition what kind of tips can you give somebody to ease some anxiety or stressors?
So I'd say two things. First of all, don't hide from it. Like, It's gonna happen.
Face that boogeyman, right?
Yeah, you got to face it. And whether you want to use the analogy of how do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time, or how was Rome wasn't built in a day. However
Yeah.
you want to like package it, it's not about trying to jump from here to there all at once. It's just about taking one step at a time.
Systematic, like Herb mentioned, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, this is going to be inspiring to so many people now that just go through the medical evaluation board process, because that's daunting in itself.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and there are some unique challenges that come with it. But the reality is, there are one of the things that I've learned in my transition, and I guess if somebody's watching this now or after
If
the
yes, they're
fact,
watching it now.
okay,
You're
all
getting
right, well,
you're
good.
getting congratulations. You have a small fan club now. I'll be honest. You're
Okay,
more popular than myself.
well, thanks. But I mean, what I want people to take away from this really is um, the veteran community. Like we want to help each other.
Yes.
Okay, like there is no veteran that wants somebody to leave the service and feel like, hey, you've got to do it on your own, and nobody is going to help you and nobody's going to show you the way. And so, like, I actually had the problem of there were too many resources. Like, I couldn't take advantage of all of them.
What a
I had to
good
start.
problem to have, huh?
It's a great problem. It's an amazing problem, and so it's like you kind of have to identify what direction you want to head in. And I got to give a shout out to John Snyder, because he really helped me with that, individually.
Hey,
You
John,
know,
got a fan here.
yeah, yep, yep. No, I mean he definitely helped me, and and understanding my why, my direction,
Hmm.
is what helped me identify what resources I needed to take advantage of, because otherwise it was just overwhelming.
Yeah, it definitely can be for some, for many. So this is why we
Yeah.
have these LinkedIn live sessions on Hire Military, is just to get the information out there. And we're almost on 30 minutes right now, but this has been a great conversation. And those that want to come on and to talk about their transition, hey, Patrick, we're not done yet. We're gonna start talking because this people love this conversation. But I want people to know that come on here, talk about your transition, and Patrick will take over for people like me and Herb recently. That there's I think my opinion is we only have a certain shelf life for military transition assistance. We can always be mentors, but to know what you go through for years, I think Patrick's going to be the one that's going to take the reins, or the baton soon, and talk about the stuff, especially since he's going to the Space Force now, and he's going to be the one now that's going to bring you up with him. We don't just go take jobs and forget about things. We bring people with us. So those that want to reach out and maybe want a career in Space Force, Patrick's your guy.
Well, I'm happy to help. I I'll share an experience on that real quick. I recently met a guy. His name's Justin. Real good dude. Reached out to me and just asked me some questions about some of my experiences. It's led to several conversations, and I had an opportunity that was presented to me that I actually had to turn down. Not because there was anything wrong with the opportunity, but the timing just didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
My wife was about to kick me out of the house if I didn't have a job. So,
That's some pressure right there. You think transitions pressure? Wait till your wife gets you out of the house.
yeah, yeah. No, she's good. She's really supportive. But anyways, Justin, I went to Justin and I said, hey, can you send me your resume? And just highlight a couple of things about, your background and whatnot. And he sent me his resume this morning, actually. Or no, it was last night. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And I passed it along today, and I really hope that it works out for him, because he's very talented. He would be a great fit with this organization. And I think that it's through actions like this that we help each other. it's not about standing on top of people. It's about lifting where you stand and helping
Hmm.
people as you rise up.
Pull them up with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, these platforms are good, and there's a lot of comments coming by. People asking where you're going to work for. He's going to Space Force. Please tune in. That's some good news. Hey, so what other things could you share with us? What tools did you use in your transition journey that may have helped you, like Veterati, O2O, those kind of things?
Yeah. So those are
Oh,
great.
was that an offer for you?
Um,
You got a
yeah,
job,
yeah,
right?
yeah. No, it actually was. It was my employer saying, "Give me my letter back."
All right.
Uh,
That's a joke.
yeah, yeah. Um, anyways, as far as tools that I used, so here's one that I'm going to throw out here. It's one I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about. Um, I used Nerd Wallet in terms of city comparison, cost of living comparison. And here's
Okay.
what I mean by this. So I grew up in the Midwest where, things are cheaper, and somebody threw a number out as far as a salary out in Washington D.C. and I was floored when they said that number to me. I was like, "You want to pay me what?" Like I was excited. I was like, "I will do some. Yeah, I'll come work for you." If they would have offered me a job right at that point, I would have
Yeah.
signed the dotted line. And anyways, this cost of living comparison, it really helped me to understand, like, hey, that amount of money out in DC, that's the same as X amount of money as, like for me, since I'm headed to Colorado, I was able to make
Yeah.
those apple to oranges comparisons.
Do that research.
Yeah. So I know that wasn't quite what you asked about, in terms of O2O and Veterati.
No, this
Um,
that's even better because NerdWallet you don't hear about those things. You hear about O2O Veterati all the time because it's what we used. But
mhm.
now we're going to throw NerdWallet into the mix, and maybe they'll have military specific training. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah. Nerd Wallet, get on it. So yeah, no, I definitely use that. There's a similar kind of like just similar theme. I would definitely encourage people to look at um, taxes. Like the cost of living in certain locations.
Hmm.
And you kind of Google that if you will. But I firmly and totally will advocate for, whether it be Veterati, O2O. I'm actually in the process of doing that right now. It's just kind of just due to the nature of me being, medically retired. It was a little bit hard to get into a cohort.
Yep.
So, I'm actually in that process right now. These are all resources that I would highly advocate that as soon as you can utilize them, start like if you're even
Yeah.
the one thing I would say is if you're even thinking about transitioning, like not like if you're still like within your enlistment time, or you still have an ADSA where you owe the Army or the military or whatever branch you're in, if you still owe time, but you're like, man, I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it for a whole career. If you're even thinking about that, you
Yeah.
need to start these things now.
Prepare for the inevitable. It's going to
Yeah.
happen sooner or later. And for me personally, it happened within 6 months of me deciding. I was done
Hmm.
6 months. You were
Yeah.
done probably earlier than that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
From the
worked out
time.
for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I had from the day that I got my final decision, I had 90 days, and that's 90 days to August 4th. So
Wow. And
yeah.
most of that is you're on leave, right?
Yeah.
So hey,
So
clear the post, hand in your gear, which is could be a daunting process for some.
2 days. 2 days. And some of it was, it probably should have taken longer, but the reality is I was too busy looking for a job. I was like, the Army's going to kick me out one day or another. So
Yes.
I was like, I was more worried about finding employment for my family.
To hopefully secure the same quality of life you're doing right now, you need a job. And
Yeah.
people actually look past what they're supposed to look past to find the job, and they forget about the SBP, the life insurance, the paying off debt. Those things will lessen the stressors of military transition, and they look past that, and they'll actually come back to it eventually. But it's either too late or it's too much money. Just you're doing the right thing, and I'll tell you, I'm excited for you.
Thanks.
So how do you do your videos? So your videos are probably what, a minute and a half, 2 minutes each.
Yeah.
Any kind of special software you use for those things?
I use the LinkedIn app. If you go to add a post, you got the little camera button. If anybody hasn't done it before, I'll give you a tip. So it's not like when you record, it's not like right now where it's going, live with a 3 second delay. You're going to have the time to review it. So if you mess up, if you, kind of catch your tongue, or, maybe you like those 4-letter words and you're like, I probably shouldn't say that.
I do.
Okay. All right. You have the opportunity to stop the video, delete it, and start over. So for the people that are intimidated about doing a video, what I would tell you is just go try it. Like even if you're not going to post it, just go try it.
And your first video took 3, 4, 10 times to try it, right?
Yeah. I definitely did it multiple times just because I got stuck in my own head of like, oh my gosh, everybody's gonna hear me talk. What if my voice sounds funny?
Dumb. Exactly. I hate my own voice. I don't watch these videos because to me I don't sound right. But you sound perfect, so your videos are pretty good.
Well, thank you.
Hey, is there anything else you want to share with the audience as we come up on 36 minutes now?
Yeah. So last thing that I would definitely advocate for is, well, I've got 2 things actually. One of them is if you can utilize LinkedIn Premium, and what I mean by that, whether it's LinkedIn Learning, or more importantly, as you're going through your job search experience, you click on jobs and there's some more tools out there. There's some interview prep. Michael Quinn, he's obviously talked about this in his webinars. If you can go to his webinar. The other thing I would say is, don't be afraid of the pandemic right now. Everybody wants to talk about how lots of people have lost their jobs and people aren't hiring.
Almost 40 million.
Yeah. And I don't want to sound like I'm discounting the totality of it. But the thing is there are some companies that are still hiring. They have embraced Zoom. They have embraced, whether it's, Google, Amazon, whatever platform it is, they are getting on their phones, on their iPads and their computers, and they are doing interviews. They are doing virtual hiring fairs. So if you're looking for a job, don't let the situation define you. Just go start searching for virtual job fairs, and you're going to find them.
Put yourself out there. Don't be.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, you'll be nervous, but it's how you overcome the nerves.
Hey, real quick. I'm going to tell you, this is my secret. Okay. I've got a playlist on my phone. It's called Happy. Okay. It's just songs that I like that just make me happy. Okay. And so every time before an interview, I just put those songs on and I just jam out to them. Okay. So about 5 minutes, totally just, I don't know the psychology behind it. I'm not that smart, but the reality is, it put me in a good mood. So at least when these interviewers see me for the first time, I'm at least able to smile and not be like a sweaty, nasty blob.
Can we ask 2 songs on your playlist?
Well,
is one George Michael or Wham?
Well, we definitely got some One Direction and some Justin Bieber.
There you go. See, make you happy.
It makes me happy. Hey, I'll do this for you. I'll do this. I will post my playlist. How about that?
There you go. That is fair.
Okay.
Hey, Richard Bailey asks, has anyone utilized ACP or for mentoring, American Corporate Partners? Have you used that yet, ACP?
So I actually haven't. I know about it.
What are you waiting for?
It goes back to what to answer your question, what am I waiting for? Matt, I've been doing this for 6 weeks, man. I can't do everything.
Come on. Hey, just so you know, you can use it as a veteran too. But yes,
Yeah.
ACP is a great tool. I used it myself. I gained insight on not only, I thought I wanted to go one route in the HR world, whereas my mentor said, hey, there's training and development and there's people and culture. Think about that too. I'm like, I love people. I like training. I can be developed. So they gave me a better perspective. Yes, ACP, go there. It's a nonprofit. They will match a veteran, a transition service member, and a military spouse up with a Fortune 500 or corporate America mentor. And they're not all retired military. They're not all prior service. They're not all veterans. They're just there to help us out, to help us learn the language and the culture. So yes, Patrick will be going to get an ACP mentor in the next 6 months, right?
Absolutely. No, and it just goes back to what I was trying to say earlier. Is there are so many resources out there that you can't do everything all at once, because if you try to do everything all at once, you're just going to fail at everything.
This is why you start 24 months out for retirement, 12 months out for separations, or even 3 years out just to learn it all and go through it twice if you have to.
Exactly. Yes.
So how's your team down? Was that one or two things you wanted to bring up?
That I got through both mine. So
all right. So I look forward to seeing a happy playlist. If it matches mine, we'll be like, yeah, we're twinsies.
We'll have to get matching shirts. All right. Hey, if you send me one of those, I will rock it out.
Okay, hey, Sean, we're gonna give Patrick a shirt, so we'll nail it. So, hey, anything else you want to leave the audience as we end this after 45 minutes?
Man, last thing I say, I'm definitely going to spend a couple of days working on my car. That's just cathartic for me. But at the same time, if people have questions, if they want to reach out and talk to me, definitely hit me up. I'm happy to help however I can, pay it forward. So yeah, just reach out.
So, hey, those that are watching now live or watching afterwards. So Patrick O'Donohue is on LinkedIn. Search for him. I'll edit this post to tag him in the post. Just click with him, connect with him, send him a note if you could. Just practice, send him a note. And he will hopefully guide you through his process. And the good thing about it is, hey, Patrick, let them all connect with you today. And maybe tomorrow morning, share your happy playlist. That way they all see it, right?
All right. Tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, when everybody is bright and happy, because I know nobody's going to be dragging themselves out of bed to look at my playlist. But, yeah.
It depends on time. It depends on the time, right?
Okay, all right. No, but come check out LinkedIn. I'll have my happy playlist. And if nothing else, hopefully there's something on there you like listening to.
So as we wrap this up, so Patrick went through the medical evaluation process. He started on LinkedIn 5 weeks ago. He had a small window to which to separate. He got a job offer just a couple days ago. He accepted. He joins that great organization, the Space Force, soon. And he did this all by networking and putting himself out there. So those who are watching, put yourself out there, do a video or two, share some thoughts on LinkedIn, get noticed, and you too can follow in Patrick's footsteps in getting a job before you even get out. So, hey, Patrick, thank you very much. I'll be back on here Monday at 2 p.m. East Coast time. I'm not sure what that is, Pacific, probably 11 o'clock. I'm not good at math, but we're on here. If you want to come on, hey, Patrick, would you recommend people come on here with me on LinkedIn Live?
Absolutely.
Thank God. I'm glad to say yes, because I wasn't prepared for no.
Hey, man, I'll say whatever to get one of those T-shirts.
Oh, I like that. Hey, bribery away. I'm good.
All right.
Hey, but join me on Monday, 2 p.m. East Coast time, and we'll be on there with another transitioning veteran, and we'll see you all then. So, Patrick, again, thank you very much, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay.
All right. See you later.
Bye.